You're watching Final Score on Fox 16.
Welcome into Final Score. I'm Courtney Mims, and yes, we have a great interview for you today. It's actually kind of an update on a story I did maybe 3 months ago now about something called the Pigpen Collective. Well, now they've rebranded into Choose Arkansas. And so we have a couple of the members of Choose Arkansas in our studios today. You might remember the guy over there. That's the president of Choose Arkansas, Peyton Dunn. We've had you on the show before, but we have a new face. And the new face in the studio joining Peyton with us is the chairman of Choose Arkansas, David Smith. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about the rebrand. Peyton, we had you on just a few months ago to talk about the idea of the Pigpen Collective, and you wanted to make it a collective for the fans, by the fans. Is that still the message of Choose Arkansas, and why did you have to rebrand?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely still the message of Choose Arkansas, but just now that we can go out and go to every school in Arkansas, like I always say, it happened in two parts. The first part was when I went and talked to the university before the Missouri game. They said that I'd have to sign with another school, and I talked to myself about that. I was like, do I want to sign someone out of state, or would I rather sign with the school in state and sign kids there to be able to be compliant because of the close association clause that happened after the House settlement? So after the House settlement now, schools can pay players. So what happened is when you go look at a collective that's only at one school, well, what's the difference between the school paying them and the collective paying them? Because they could just, funnel the money there and pay more than that. So the NCAA said, no, collectives are done. And so we are now a marketing agency for NIL, but for the entire state of Arkansas, because we didn't want to sign with any other school outside of the state. And then as far as the second part to that question, I met this guy here, and I will let him tell that part of the story because he was telling us before we started rolling. And I don't know if we're going to get it the best way again. So we'll try, though, David.
Yeah, David, so you have a great story of how you joined on with Peyton here, because you weren't a part of the initial story of the Pigpen Collective.
No, I wasn't. And so just to kind of give a quick background, I was a contributor to Edge. I'm a retired executive from FedEx, retired last January. And so upon my retirement, the people at Edge reached out to me and said, hey, would you be interested in serving on an advisory board? And I said, yes, I would. When I got into it, I realized, the trouble that they were in. And so we continued to give up until June, when it actually was disbanded. I knew the writing was on the wall in January when they brought in, the front office people and Remy Cofield and that group. I realized at that time that the writing was on the wall, that the outside collective was probably going to go away. So they disbanded, and unfortunately, from the university's perspective, when they let Edge go, there was no place for us to give our money. And there was roughly 1,500 of us that were giving money to Edge up until June of this year or last year. And we were like, where do you give your money? And so some of us, like myself, are foundation members, have been for a long time. And I automatically said, we've got to do something. I'm sitting around fans at the games, and they're saying, we really need to do something. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm retired, and maybe I can get involved. I want to get involved. 63 years of being a Razorback fan for my family as of this year. And so started playing around with it a little bit, put a plan together, and actually took it to my financial advisor, and he looked at it and said, hey, this looks good. And so took it to the front office, and they started saying, hey, you ought to really talk to this young man. He's been in here, and he kind of knows the insight. So I checked him out, and I'm like, I like what he's doing. I like the perspective that he's on the young side, I'm on the older side. And so I reached out to Peyton, and the rest is history. I was like, man, we need to put our energies together and our resources together, and it's been phenomenal. I did this as something that I thought was going to be fun, and it is fun, don't get me wrong, but it's turning into a full-time gig for me.
Yeah.
But Peyton he and I are partners now. Pigpen Collective is now basically Choose Arkansas, and the reason we put Choose Arkansas is twofold, really, like Peyton was mentioning. We're more than just an NIL collective, if you want to look at it that way, but we're as much as a marketing company. But you choose the name Arkansas, and you think to yourself, why choose Arkansas? Hey, we're representing all the athletes and universities in the state of Arkansas. But the second part of that, and it's even more impressive, or more importantly, is that we're focusing on Arkansas businesses.
Yeah.
We're not going after the national brands. We'll let the big boys do that. So that's kind of that's what we really bring value to the table that makes us different from the larger ones, is that we're focused in the state of Arkansas. Everything we've done, the people that work it for us, the vendors that we're using, everything's Arkansas based. They're either Arkansas alumni or Arkansas people, and we want to keep it that way. And so we want to keep our money in state, pay our taxes in state, and kind of that's our strategy and our philosophy going forward.
And also Arkansas athletes, right? We talk about not just Razorback athletes, but you've managed to sign so far, Peyton. This is a great update for everybody who wanted to know, well, are they actually going to sign athletes? You said once you raised enough money, you were going to start doing that. And so in a short amount of time, you've done that. You've signed 5 total athletes, 4 who go to the University of Arkansas. I know the first one that you signed was Jenna Lawrence, an Arkansas athlete through and through, right? Grew up here in Arkansas, and so a great first athlete, plays for the women's basketball team. But you also signed a UAPB pitcher, and that means a lot to the people here in Central Arkansas as well. Talk about the athletes you've signed so far.
Yeah, so I just wanted to go out and kind of do something with the money. As the Pigpen Collective, it was very obvious that to help out in the big 3 sports, it was going to take us many years of building up. It was actually until, me and David kind of formed this new thing, I didn't really see the possibility of going and actually making an immediate impact in any of those sports. It was more to, hey, where can we help out what's going on right now and take some of the pressure off of the front office and, help out with the revenue sharing sports. So we went after those sports. We could afford those sports, and we went and signed athletes that we thought really matched our brand, who could give us brand awareness, who had a good social following, or who had good connections to the state. We signed 2 women's basketball players, a gymnast and a tennis player, and then we signed a guy from UAPB. One, hey, we needed to get out there. I had a connection with his mom because we sponsored the White County tournament. She's the athletic director over at Payneburn, Arkansas. His dad's the superintendent. We played high school basketball against each other. I don't know if he remembers, but he's a 10th grader. I still have a grudge on that one. But, it was just a connection to the state, and, that post got shared by his mom, and that got 50 likes and views in the state of Arkansas. Well, who's my market? Is it people in Arkansas, or is it, those people are going to give because their kids are at those schools.
Right.
And we need to grow the brand in the state and awareness in the state and do some good for the state. And it came out of my own pocket. It wasn't out of the money we raised. Every book, it's going to be a different book for every university. The monies won't touch. So at the end of the day, it's like that was what I did to help us so we could go out and give more to university athletes and go above the minimum requirements, and that way we can get a contract to NIL go.
Yeah, David, I was going to ask you about the money side of things, because you had a financial advisor come look at this plan and say, yeah, okay, this looks like it can work. How much money, you've signed 5 athletes so far, but how much money do you need for people out there who are going, I want to see a men's basketball player signed, I want to see a football player signed? How much money realistically are you going to need to raise if you want to see one of those?
It really depends on what you bring to the table. For example, strictly when you bring in these athletes at a higher cost, if you will. We're looking at literally business opportunities for them to do a commercial or promotional for a business. It could be anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000. It goes up and up and up. But the focus that we've decided to do is, I'm going to use an old business scenario with FedEx that we had when I worked there. We're building this business on what we call small, medium to large customers. So you can actually donate $1, as little as $1, or up to $100,000, wherever it may be. And we don't have membership levels. If you give us $1, you're treated just the same as somebody gives $50. There's no different levels. So they get the same benefits that you would if you did, like with Edge and with some of these others. If you pay $500, you get X. If you do $10, you get you buy $1, we treat everybody the same. And so from a financial standpoint, just to let everybody know, we're independent. We are self-financed. We have funded it, Peyton and I. There has been money offered to us from some other large companies, and we've chosen not to take those offers at this point. We feel like we can do it on our own, and the response has been tremendous, I must say. And we actually launched on Monday, and our phones and emails have blown up, and it's become pretty much a full-time gig for both of us. So I'm having fun with it. It's a job for him. It's fun for me. We're off to a great start, and I want to address something I'm sure you're going to ask. What is the difference? Everybody's asking us what's our difference between us and the big boys, i.e. Link U.
Link U. That was my next question, actually.
So we welcome that, and I actually reached out and congratulated them upon them making the agreement with Arkansas. I knew that was coming. There's room for both of us to coexist, and here's why, because they're the big guys. They represent multiple universities outside of the state of Arkansas, so we had to come up with what's going to be our niche, what's our real go-to-market strategy. And our go-to-market strategy was exactly what we described. Everything's Arkansas related, all the universities in Arkansas, all the businesses in Arkansas. So that makes us unique. So, and there again, you can do us for $1 a day or $1 a week or a month or whatever it may be, up to whatever you want to do. And unfortunately, with the bigger people, you have to give more. They've got a little bit. Their website is pretty impressive, and rightfully so. They've been doing this since 2022. When Peyton and I sat down, I said, I want something that's clean and easy to understand. I think our website is very easy to look at and use. We have actually contracted with a group here out of Little Rock called Smart Change. All of our donations go directly into their site, and you can pick the sport that you want, the school that you want, and those monies go into that site, and within 24 hours, the dollars are transferred over to us and a state-owned bank, an Arkansas State Bank.
There you go.
So we've got everything kind of a tight loop, if you will, and we're looking at different technology all the time. There's a lot of things out there that we can do differently. So we're starting kind of slow, but walk before we can run, so to speak. But I will tell you that I had a call on the way here from Northwest Arkansas from a player's father, who is represented by an agent, who I won't mention at the time, but they're interested in doing something with us, and this could be big. We've got 2 or 3 big athletes that have reached out to us that we would like to sign, but because that's kind of where we are with it. And like I said, it's just picking up steam.
Yeah, and picking up steam and obviously getting the word out. And Peyton, you've done a really good job about making sure people know who you guys are and doing different interviews, getting in front of different people. For you, this started as just, hey, I'm an Arkansas fan. I want to see us beat teams like Memphis. Well, Arkansas goes and grabs Memphis's coach, and well, maybe we're on our way to doing that. Peyton, for you, now you see this growing into something bigger, right? You have help. That was something you talked with me about initially just a few months ago. You have a board, right? Talk about some of the ways just a few months you've seen this thing grow.
Well, yeah, Courtney, so now I have mentors like David that I can bounce stuff off of. He's an ex-FedEx executive. He has experience, right? I really only have a military background, not a lot of experience in the private world or the public sector. And then also the other board members are very open. I mean, we have Alyssa Orange. She kind of, negotiates some other stuff for me, so I'm not having to go and beg for TV time or podcast anymore. She can get me into doors I couldn't get into. We have a guy, Fresh Site, they do our website development. I don't have to build the website anymore. I was having to do everything. I mean, I'm still running the social media, but as we're going in and negotiating with schools, we're going to have internships at schools. So now I can use interns to help me do more stuff. So it's only I am getting more day-to-day stuff that I have to do, but also at the same time I'm getting help to where we can build out those departments as we grow and organically take on more. It will be able to naturally fill out and be able to spread out.
Yeah, and divvy up what needs to be done. And I think it even has even more potential to grow even more further than that. And David, you can kind of talk a little bit about that side of things because of your experience at FedEx and being in a big corporation. But for people who are still out there maybe skeptical, who are still, I don't know if I want to give my money, because that's the big thing, right? You've got to get people to trust you guys.
Sure.
and make it make sense of going, okay, this is why I'm going to give my money to you guys instead of giving it to maybe Link U or another source. Why should they give money to choose Arkansas?
And that's a great question. So, as Peyton and I discussed, it's a prime example of what I talked about when giving money to Edge, for example. We didn't know where our money was going, during that time frame, and who was going to, what athletes, NIL, what have you. And so we made it very clear from the get-go, we're going to be fully transparent. We'll collaborate with anybody. I took 6 phone calls yesterday in my car, talking to different individuals across the state, asking the tough questions. Why should we do business with you? Why should we donate? It's pretty simple. We're fully transparent. You can go on our website. You can see you've got comment areas where you can get in touch with us. Peyton and I are readily available. I'll pick up the phone and call somebody. I'll meet with somebody. I'm not flying around the state in a corporate jet. I'm in a car and I'm pounding the pavement. And I'm willing to meet with anybody, anytime, as is Peyton. And so we're grassroots, Courtney. Really, when you want to get down to it. So it's like any new business. You've got to walk before you run. But and the thing that's really been phenomenal, that's unbelievable, is the amount of people that have reached out to us and have volunteered their services. Peyton's a full-time employee. We've got probably a dozen or so people that are volunteering their time to help us and giving us goods and services, and just giving them to us. And they see the vision that we see. It's a twofold vision of helping our student athletes and also growing the business in the state of Arkansas.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing thing that you guys are starting up, and especially not that, again, here in Central Arkansas, we have UCA fans, we have UAPB fans, we have Little Rock Trojan fans, we have so many other Arkansas State fans as well. On the website, you had mentioned that they can go through, and specifically for the people out there, because I know I see it on social media, so I'm asking for you guys out there, they can go on that website. They can go and select which school they want, right?
Correct.
And they can go and select which sport they want even. If
Correct.
you want to give to football, you can give to football, right? They may not see somebody sign with that money just yet, but hey, you can give to football, right? So they can specifically choose to see where that money goes. I'm correct on that, right, Peyton?
I will speak on that. So for at least the University of Arkansas right now, it is split up between, you have a football pot, you have a basketball pot, and you have a baseball pot. The other pots are kind of like more squished together because it's like until we see donations really come in, they can specify in the email after they donate, and then we can see that. Those emails go to everybody's inboxes that work with us so that someone will be able to respond to it. But until we really get enough donations for all the other sports, it's harder to be able to work with it. Yeah. So it will go to a general fund's easier because then if someone's like, hey, we need money for something here, I can go and I have a pot to grab it from. But if it's divvied out to every single sport, it's going to take way too long to be able to do those contracts. So that's kind of why it's the big 3, you can have those, and then we have a women's sports pot, we have an Olympic sports pot. So that's every sport outside of the big 3, the non-rev share sports, and then we have band, cheer, and club sports.
Awesome.
And those are specific because we don't have to do an NIL deal with those. Those can just go straight to those people because they're not college athletes, right? By the NCAA standards. So that would answer that question.
Yeah, and also different schools as well. So if you're a UCA Bears fan who's watching this, right? If you're a Arkansas State fan who's watching this, you will be able to select that it goes, to those schools as well. I love that that's the way you've set it up because I know a lot of people there are people out there that want to give to women's sports, that want to see their money go to track and field. And would rather say, hey, this is where I want my money to go. So I like that that's how you've divvied it up. And also, if you want to give to men's basketball, if you want to give to baseball, if you want to give to football, you can do so on that website. I'm going to ask this to both of you guys. We're running out of time here, but I do want to end on this. We've talked about why people should give to Choose Arkansas. But for both of you, why is this such a special cause that you're willing to give so much time to it? Should we start? David or Peyton, who wants to go first?
Well, I'm from the state. I've served the state. Anything I can give back to the community. I see that I missed one thing in your last question. Those books are just general funds right now until we have those conversations with those universities because we would like to have an official sponsorship, and then all non-D1 schools we are reaching out to right now. So they will be on there. But for me, I started my career at Lyon College. I was running cross country and track, transferred and did ROTC at Harding University. So for me, it's if I'm going to give money to the Razorbacks and Harding and Lyon's an option, I can give 20 and 5 there or however much. So I feel like for most people in the state, they can relate. It's hey, I couldn't make it to the Hill, or I never went to college. Well, this one's in my backyard, and I can also help out the Razorbacks, which I dearly love. So for me, it was from the beginning, I wanted to see Arkansas succeed. I wanted to see the state do better, and this was just how it looked for the collective. I know I told you from the start this could look a million different ways, and this is how the successful model looked for getting the Pigpen Collective to be anything, and now it's Choose Arkansas, and we have to do every school in the state, but thank God we can, is kind of where I'm at.
I love that. David, what about you?
63 years Razorback fan. I lived here as a child and in the early 60s. Got to see the national championship. Thought War Memorial Stadium was the biggest thing I'd ever seen in my life. My daughters were born. They were brought in at a young age. My grandson, who you know, was brought at an early age, and that's our passion. I have retired to Northwest Arkansas, and I'm also still maintain a residence in Memphis, so I go back and forth. I'm an alum of Arkansas and the University of Memphis, or Memphis State, if you will. Just the passion, the opportunity to do something, make a difference, is what really is driving, I think, both of us. Our passion for the University of Arkansas and the state of itself, and that's really what drives me, and the opportunity, been fortunate enough to be given back.
I love that. I love that. Both great answers there. And again, if they can't find you guys, what's the website? Plug it here for everybody.
So it's www.choosearkansas.org. We do have a signing event in Conway this Saturday, January the 10th. We have 4 football players that are going to be there.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So they're all in-state kids. They all wanted to come. It's not costing us a lot. They're doing us a really good favor for that. And we are going to do a huge giveaway for the SEC tournament, a sweepstakes.
Okay. Ooh.
And we'll have an event in Nashville for the SEC tournament.
Ooh, very cool. That's a teaser right there.
Yeah, there might be an alumni's place that it's happening at. I don't know what alumni owns a bar in Nashville.
Oh.
Maybe you can help us out there.
Oh my gosh, really? Are you for real?
For reals.
Okay, all right, okay. I'm excited about that one. Guys, thank you so much for coming in studio today and chatting with us about Choose Arkansas. I'm sure we'll have you back in for another update when you sign 5 more athletes and see who you get to sign on to the organization next. That's gonna do it for this segment of Final Score. We'll be right back after the break.
You're watching Final Score on Fox 16.